Hey, hello, good morning, good evening, good night.
Yo, how's it going?
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, it is real late on Hot 97 live, well, sort of live adjacent from RBMA Tokyo. Yes, the Red Bull Music Academy 2014 Tokyo. I'm here with Zebra Katz.
What up?
Yo, Zebra, you are based in New York.
I am.
But it took us coming to Tokyo to run into each other.
I mean, we're here now.
But we're here now.
Yeah.
Get people familiar who may not be with Zebra Katz. You had a really big record called I'm a Read.
Yep.
Back in 2012.
Yes, sir.
That was sort of a viral sensation.
Yep.
But get people familiar if they may not be. Give us the elevator pitch on Zebra Katz.
Yeah, I mean, I released I'm a Read on Mad Decent in 2012 with Diplo and Camp. And then shortly after that, Rick Owens, a fashion designer from California by way of Paris, decided to run the track on his runway for 11 minutes straight. It was then named the Song of Paris Fashion Week, which then led the likes of Busta Rhymes to do a remix. And then I released an EP called Darkling, and it's just been one crazy ride since. So.
I know we're more and more in an era where categories musically don't necessarily make sense.
Yeah.
But if forced to categorize yourself musically, at least where's the first category you put yourself?
Minimal hip hop.
Minimal hip hop.
Yeah.
Define minimal.
It's restrained, I mean, it's not that much of a lyrical bandwagon, I don't really have that much to say. If I do, I say it in fewer words than many.
So what does that mean? So as an artist, what do you then focus on? It's more about melody and chorus and just what do you focus on then if lyrical content? We're so used to artists saying,
yeah.
I come with the lyrics.
Yeah.
So where do you put your focus?
I mean, it's mostly about just the attitude and the feeling and the vibe behind it. And then, with the production that I did with I'm a Read, it was straightforward, just a kick. And I think a lot of people were against that or didn't really think it was a full song. And then I kind of used my voice as the instrument. And I think that's where, the minimalism kind of steps in, where I try to fill as much of the space in the music with my voice opposed to a lot of just fuller.
So where does one, because to be honest, that's kind of coming more into style now.
Mm-hmm.
2012, you were actually pretty early on that.
Oh, thank you.
Where did the influence for you come for that sort of minimalist approach and you being a part of the music as opposed to a lyricist on top of the music?
Well, I just got really lucky with it. I was working on GarageBand and then Fruity Loops, and then, I wanted to start with somewhere I felt comfortable as a producer, and that was it. I wanted to start minimal. I didn't really want to add a cowbell and a drop and a siren, too soon because I didn't really know what I was doing. So I got super lucky with that and just decided to keep some restraint and just make it straightforward and get my point across with the track. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Were there any artists, though, like hip-hop artists who are maybe from a while back that you grew up on that at least you took a piece from or anything like that?
Definitely. Visually, Grace Jones is just a style icon and musical icon, and that's someone, I've molded a lot of my visuals from and aesthetic. And, there's Andre 3000, there's Big Daddy Kane, there's Lauryn Hill, someone I really was obsessed with in middle school and high school. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill really shaped a lot for me. Was also a big fan of the Fugees. And just, I grew up listening to a lot of Caribbean music. My parents would play all day long, so I had a very varied genre-izing, upbringing.
Now, I have to ask, the first thing you see when you go to your Wikipedia page.
Yeah, oh Lord, I'm supposed to rewrite that.
Well, it's complicated. You have to. Let me tell you something. Rewriting a Wikipedia page is a pain in the ass. The reference points you have to take care of. There's like so much annoying. Anyways, we'll get to that later.
All right.
We'll get to the details of your Wikipedia page and how we should go about that on a later date.
Great.
But one of the first things it says is that you're part of the wave.
Oh.
A lot of keywords here. A lot of trendy words being used here. The wave of queer hip hop. First of all, is that how you would describe yourself, and what exactly does that mean, and kind of describe what the queer movement is about in hip-hop, if that is the case?
I've been against that whole coinage since it happened, really, and I think it kind of started with a Pitchfork article titled "We Invented Queer Rap."
And were you focused on in that article?
Yeah, I kind of was focused in that article, and I think it was around the same time all the talk was coming up with Frank Ocean coming out of the closet and all this other stuff that was just really becoming a thing of the moment, you know what I mean? And I think it's always been a thing. I think there have always been artists in hip hop who have been queer or not really a normal heterosexual person, as you like to say.
That we've been
fans of and, you know, listened to for years. So it never really was a thing to me. But I kind of got, you know, wrapped up in it, and that's just what it's been. And I've been, you know, trying to work my way outside of that just with my music. So
what do you think is the problem? I mean, listen, obviously on the surface, the second you label a genre of music based on the orientation, any sort of orientation of the people who make the music, it seems incredibly limiting and sort of like dated to do that.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say, because, you know, like I didn't take heat. There was an article, actually was one article, not Pitchfork, BuzzFeed, some annoying place, about an interview that I did with Cakes the Killer.
Yeah.
And it sort of made fun of my like ignorant heterosexuality for asking a lot of questions about Cake's sexuality.
Yeah.
Which he's very forward about on his records. It's like a big part of what he does.
Yeah.
And while at the same time I was kind of able to laugh at myself because I do think it's kind of worth laughing at, I thought it was worthwhile because when you're talking to an audience, especially on the internet, that's so ignorant. Sometimes, no disrespect to my ignorant audience members, but there are a lot of y'all out there. And I think a lot of obvious things that may seem obvious to the guy who wrote the article was like different from New York. There's a huge broad spectrum between the trendy gay writer in New York and the raging homophobe in Ohio, right? There's a lot of middle gray area there. So I do think there are things that are worth discussing about sexuality in hip hop because obviously it is new. And it's unfortunate that it's new, but we start still in that place. But at the same time, I definitely have an issue with an entire genre being labeled solely based on sexuality.
I mean, you and I both. I mean, it's really a sad thing that we can't really just celebrate music and celebrate these artists, you know, that are labeled in this category for who we are and what we're doing. My music has nothing to do with my sexuality, and even though it is a reflection of me, I just don't really see it being an emphasis. And I just think, you know, I'ma Read was a strong song because of that, and it was able to reach a lot of people because of its universalism.
It wasn't about,
you know, a ball scene, or it wasn't about, you know, Paris is Burning, and it wasn't about a lot of the surface things people really think it was about. So, it kind of just helped me reach another level, you know, with where I was going as someone who was just, you know, making music for fun, and it got really serious after that. So, yeah.
How have you been embraced over the beginning of your career? I'm not talking about sexuality-wise, but just musically.
I mean, I need more hugs, but not
enough strong embraces.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, I've been embraced. It's been good. I've been, you know, in the studio with Rick Rubin, and I've been in the studio with a lot of hip hop legends.
Well, let's slow down for a second. How does one, with your level of experience and where you're at, get in the studio with Rick Rubin?
I mean, I'm a mover and a shaker. So,
apparently so.
I mean, it's just, hard work is definitely one thing. I was out in LA, and I was with a new manager at the moment, and he was like, "Oh, we're gonna go meet Rick Rubin," and I was like, "Oh, really?" And he really did make that happen, and we went out to his, you know, spot in Malibu, and we played him some of the new tracks, and he was like, "Okay, this is cool, this is hip hop, this is fresh," and it was kind of like my manager's litmus test to see if, you know, I was worth the trip out to Malibu.
A lot of pressure. Is there pressure when you're sitting there across from Rick Rubin?
I mean, it's tons of pressure, but I'm just honored to be in the same room with someone who's a legend, who's listening to my music, which was something that was a hobby, you know, just 3 years ago. So I was just pat myself on the back and just trying to continue to push forward with it.
You've been out here in Tokyo with Red Bull for RBMA 2014.
Yes.
We are live from Tokyo here on Real Late on Hot 97. Exactly. Feel us. You're not in Tokyo right now.
It feels great.
All right. But what have you gotten done since you've been here?
I came out here to really master my skills as a producer. You know, I brought my machine out here.
What is your machine of choice?
I'm using the Machine 2.0 right now, but I usually just work with a GarageBand and Fruity Loops. So I'm trying to extend out and build a home studio, and it's been great. I've been working with a lot of brilliant artists from all around the world, and we've been working hard, staying up late in the studio, and also going out and seeing different parts of Japan.
What have you thought about Tokyo? Man, I've only been here 24 hours. It's a crazy, amazing place.
It is a city that really never sleeps, and it's actually much bigger than New York. Just looking out the windows here, it's massive, and there's still a lot of uncharted territory, but it's been great. I got to perform at this nightclub Harlem, on the same bill as Just Blaze and Marley Marl, which was kind of out of this world for me. And the show went really well. It was greatly received. People felt like they were feeling it. There were some people that were a little freaked out, but that
Why
comes
freaked out?
with-
What do you do that would make them feel
My
freaked out?
live show is a little intense sometimes, I think, but I think it's all for the right reason, and it kind of just reflects the music, the earlier music that I had on my Champagne mixtape. So yeah.
All right, well, let's play. First of all, thank you for coming by.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Where do you rep in New York? You're an adopted New Yorker at this point. Where do you?
I'm in Brooklyn right now.
All right. You almost said Williamsburg.
I almost said
You're like, no, I'm on Hot 97. Let me just say Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, yeah.
All right. So, where can people find you? You want to give out a Twitter, Instagram, anything like that?
At ZebraKatz, ZebraKatz, and that's me all over social media.
And why Zebra Cats?
ZebraKatz because they're, that's just the name I came up with. I think zebras are dope because their defense mechanism against their prey is to disorient them, and that's what I kind of aim to do with my music when some people listen to them. And Katz because that's the last name.
Do you really want to be
I chose.
a Jewish doctor? Is that what you?
Yeah, kind of.
Because you're
Katz
K-A-T-Z.
is like the oldest last name in the world, so it kind of just happened, and it's a play on actual kittens and cats, so it kind of just works for me.
That's dope.
And then it's Zebra F and Katz if you're nasty. So yeah, it's a full name.